I'm connecting to my Linux server. So before we begin, any questions from the previous class? Yesterday we have installed the package HTTPD and could access it from the browser, right? Today we'll install Tomcat as well, and just to see one more package. I have the pen file in the downloads folder. Switching to root user, sudo su hyphen. So now I'm a root user. Yesterday we have installed HTTPD, right? So today let's proceed and install Tomcat. And if you see here, what are we doing? We are installing the packages, right? And hosting some web pages. Yesterday that's what we did, right? As we program, means if you are given with the code as a DevOps engineer, that's how you should install the web servers or application servers and you deploy them, right? The whole process could be automated. On top of that, you could also even automate the process of handover. Means rather than just getting the application files, you could also containerize it. We'll do all those parts, right? We'll go to all those sections of how to containerize it, how do you do the configurations manually and all, right? So these things, whichever we are learning or the basics, when we are going to automate first, you need to know the manual way. So that's the reason I'm showing. And today I would like to install Tomcat. Also Git is not there. Okay, let me install Git first. Install Git. You can give Y here so that it will not wait for your prompt. Y means yes to download. See, Git is installed earlier. When I run command, it's showing Git not found, but now it will show you a lot of verbose means Git is installed. You can also check the version of Git. See, Git is installed on the system, but how do you tell which folder to version control, isn't it? So here on the root directory, I can create a folder like get demo. We have learned these things, right? I'm doing the same. Go into this. Now I want to version control this folder. So git in it. See, local repository is created. Hidden files can be seen with ls minus a. See, you see dot git means it's a git folder, git local repository created. See, git status on branch master, nothing to comment. The same story, same commands. I would like to remind you here, the commands, the concepts would remain the same, right? Only the installation part differs with respect to the OS. So, in same way, you can do the hands-on, right? Okay. So, I'm just coming out of this. We have installed HTTPD. Today, I would like to install Tomcat application server, right? Let me just write it here. So, yesterday, we have installed a web server, HTTPD. Another example for HTTPD, I mean, a web server is Nginx. It runs on port 80 And the document root location is where www. HTML is the document root location, right? This is the document root location and this is the port. Whereas you have application server, Tomcat runs on port 8080 and the document root location would be USR share Tomcat. Right? Like you have the document root location, this is the path where you have to host. Here is the path where you have to host your application. The application server can help you host your Java servlet pages, etc. So, similarly, like we changed the default port, you can also do that. But let's first install this. Yum install Tomcat. I have given Y there for confirmation in the initial command itself. So Tomcat is installed and this is the default location. And inside this Tomcat, there will be subfolders. Do you see that? So where is the path? Okay, first let's see the status. Let's start the service systems ATL status Tomcat. It's not running, so let me start it. Okay, now check the status. It's running. Process ID is 3720. Netstat minus LNTUP. You see all the process IDs. I would like to grab only Tomcat. Grep process ID is 3720. So this is the Tomcat, right? 88. So, okay, fine. We can see Tomcat here. I would also like to, by the way, where is that port configured? There are subfolders in the Tomcat called Vim. Inside this conf, the subfolders called conf, there will be some folder called um, server.xml. This is where you can change the port. Default ports are configured here. Catalina is the service, which would be started to run the Tomcat. There should be somewhere port configured. This is one thing, but there should be another way, the listening port. This is where you have 8080, you can change here. There should be one more place as well. Okay, so that's one thing where you can change the port. Another thing is there is a folder called web apps. This is the called document root location. Any code, if you want to host, this is where this is the location you should place it. Generally, Java applications will be in the form of var format or jar format. You might have heard about it, right? Code would be built, right, by build automation tools like Maven. And it will create the build artifact, which will be in the form of var, jar, or EAR, right? So that would be deployed in the web apps directory. This would be present in the web apps directory, right? So, but we don't have Java code. Developers have to share us and we have to build a var file using a Maven. We haven't learned those tools. So I'm trying to download a sample var file over the internet. Yes, you can get some sample var files for the sample Java code, sample var file download. Yes, here it is, right? You can download the var file from here. But this is on my Windows. How do I download it here? First, copy the link address to download. And this is the location I want to download. Go to that location and run wget. Wget is a Linux command which will help you download some files. Right? So that sample.var file will be downloaded. Curl is to see the content of the browser from the CLI. Wget is to download the file. So now let us run this. Do you see that sample var file? It's like a zip file. It's like a archived zip file. It would be automatically unzipped, extracted to a folder like this. So then what happens? You can see if you hit this public IP on 8080 slash sample slash endpoint of the var file, you should see the application. But before that, security rules. You should add 8080 as a security rule, right? So you have 8001 and 2020, 22. Let's add 8080 from anywhere. Okay. Okay, the application came up here. Right, this is your sample Java application deployed. Understood this, everyone? These simple steps everyone should know. If it is a web server, it's a examples. These are the examples. This is the default port. This is the default document root location. If it's application server for Java applications, default port, the location where you can host, actually it's web apps. Under Tomcat, it should be web apps where you should put the var file or jar file. So this is what we did now. We installed it, we identified the process ID. Now we know how to change the port, how to add, firstly, we know how to install it, how to start the service, how to check the default port, how to see the document root location, how to change the default port, and how to add that in the security rules. All of that we know by now. Right? These are the things we have learned. In this process, we have used certain Linux commands. Of course, all of this is Linux we did, and also we have used curl command, wget command, and so on. Right? Any questions? We'll automate these steps in the coming days, in the coming sessions. HTTP is not running. Started. Okay. So on 8001 web server is running. On 8080 application server. Any questions from anyone? So I'm considering it as no questions. Okay. There is a question from Arun. Difference between HTTPD and Tomcat. Different services. Different packages, different services. Let's say much more simple, different softwares, different packages. Application server is where you can host your Java and advanced Java applications. Web server is where you can host static web pages. You can have multiple applications on the same Tomcat. You can configure multiple ports as well for Tomcat. What exactly will do this package? A question from JP. Let's say we are a DevOps engineer. I got some HTML code from developers. How do you deploy it? How do you host it? This is how you deploy it. That HTML code should be copied onto this document root location so that it would be running on the browser. Let's say developers have the HTML code, their website should be accessed by end users. Understood, JP? So as a DevOps engineer, I got the HTML code. They want to deploy the application this way, right? Similarly, applications, I have got my developers who have Java code. They have given me the WAR file. I want to deploy it. So how do you do that? This is how you do. And there is a question from Ranjit. Do we need to stop Tomcat or HTTPD before stopping EC2 instances? Automatically, services will be stopped when you stop the EC2 instance. Obviously, whatever running on the system will be stopped, right, when you stop the instance. Deployment is a part of a role of a DevOps engineer. Yes, Abhishek. But we are doing everything in the basic and the manual way today. Whatever we have done manually, we are going to automate it because it's not that you deploy it on a single server, right? There might be so many challenges, so many things that come across. So we have to deploy on multiple servers. We'll automate all the configurations of installing Tomcat, everything. Understood? Right. So now that we understood installing some packages and deploying some applications, let us proceed to see something called shell scripting. What is shell scripting? Let me give an example. What did we do actually? First, I installed HTTP, right? Then, once it is installed, I started the service, right? Later on, I went to this path and then created an index file, or else let's say developers gave me some HTML code, I placed it here, right? So I have done these three steps one after the other. Can't we run all of them in one go, like one after the other? Should I pause on every command and wait here and run it? Can I just run all these Linux commands in one go, right? So that's what, like you will put all these commands in a single file called shell script and run this file. Such file is called shell script. Means this will have all the Linux command which you can run together, right? That's called shell scripting. It's nothing but a bunch of Linux commands you execute together. That's what is a shell scripting. Okay. And your shell scripting begins with something called shebang line. Shebang line is nothing but it just begins with hash exclamatory bin bash. That's the executable to execute the shell script, right? The first thing pound is called sharp and the other one is called bang, which is called shebang. Means pound, this is called sharp and this is called bang. Both of them together, you call it as a shebang line. Shebang line indicates which programming or which script it is, right? And then here you call the executable. Bin bash on your system, on your Linux server will execute this program. This bin bash or else it's called Bourne shell. There are different types of shell programs available. Bourne shell or born again shell. Oh, sorry, we are using born again shell, which is called bash. There is also another executable on your Linux server called binsh. That's called Bourne shell. This is a bit older and we are using born again shell more these days, syntactical differences might be there. So born again shell means, again, I'm telling you, there are multiple shell programs available like born again shell, born shell, G shell, K shell, and so on. These are nothing but the shell programs available which are responsible for executing your Linux commands. So that I'm writing a file, we need to tell which type of script or a language it is. So that's what is shebang line tells us. Right? That's how you'll create a script file. Script file will be with extension .sh. It gives you more flexibility. You can run all the Linux commands together. You can put some conditions. All of this you can. You don't need to worry about programming, to have programming background and all. This is just a basic part. I'll also show you how do you replace this shell scripting with the configuration management tools. But just an intro so that you'll understand what it is. Right? So let's create some script file. I would like to just, okay, it got disconnected. Okay, I'm just creating as easy to user only. Here I would like to create a file called sample.sh. Script file would end with sh. And I would like to connect with my VS Code editor, which helps me with the syntax highlighting and auto completion, right? So let me get the public DNS. This is the public DNS. Let's launch the VS Code editor. And let's go to Command Shift P. Let's open the configuration file. This is the configuration file. And here is the DNS. We need to update the latest DNS. And the PEM file is same. Default user is EC2 user. Saved it. Now again, Control Shift P, connect to this host. Host name is I have given AWS server. And now open the folder, EC2 user. Okay, perfect. So you can see yesterday I have created this. This is the file I just now created, right? I will close everything else. Terminal is also here. Okay, now let's start writing the shell script. So I'll start with the shebang line, shebang. And the executable is born again shell, which is bin bash. So let me just start with a simple echo command. Echo is like a print command. Okay, so that's all is my script for now. So how do you execute your script? It's a born again shell. So bash sample.sh, you can call it from the terminal. See, it just prints the output this way, right? That's what echo command does. Or else you can also convert this into executable, this file into executable. If you see ls minus l sample.sh, it's not an executable. See, it doesn't have execute permissions. I would like to provide chmod plus x sample.sh. Now, if you see it has got executable permissions, if it's executable, you can call the executable this way, dot slash, right? That's an advantage of an executable, right? That's a basic of creating a shell script file and executing it. Now, let us add some more lines for this. So now let's say I just want to have a variable. What is a variable? Variable is something to hold some value. You don't need programming language for it. You might have used it in your mathematics, right? X equal to 5. X is a variable. Similarly, I would like to have some variable here, like x equal to, and I would like to store some file name because I would like to configure my server. So x equal to some file name. I'm just using it as config.yml. Rather than X, I just want to tell everyone that's file name. So you can have a variable like this. Okay. And later on, I would like to print this variable. Echo command, then double quotes, using file name to configure the server. Right? I just want to print this. So let's run the script. See, it just prints using file underscore name. But my intention is it should print using config.yml to configure the server is what I want to print. Right? So what I should do if I want to print the content of this variable, not the variable itself. If you want to refer to the content of the variable, add dollar before it. Right? Dollar file name means it will print the content of that file name variable, but not the file name itself. Yeah, do you see that? Following everyone, I need confirmations on every step so that I can proceed. Any questions, do let me know. Got it clear? So that's how you have a variable. And let's say I would like to take one more variable. Just here itself, let's say config files. I want to do ls of a folder called config and get the content of it completely. But if I do, and also I would like to print this. Okay. So I would like to print this as well. Another echo command. Let's say contents of directory or folder called config files. If I simply write this, please, 1 second. Okay. Yes, I just want to print it. So if you want to print the content of it, it should be config files, right? So that the content of it would be printed here. But then what happens? It would just say config files, right? Let me just run this. See, config command not found. And then using config.yml, contents of the directory, it's blank. See, it's considering this as a line number 6, config files command not found. ls config, it's considering it as a command. But what we want a content of it. So you can add dollar before this so that it will consider this complete thing as a command. Right? Now let us execute. Otherwise, it's saying config command not found. Also here, config files is empty because we don't have anything. Now let us run this. See, this time a new error cannot config. No such file or directory. Because it will check in the same folder because I just give ls config. Here config folder is not there. So that's what it is telling. Right? But I don't want the script to error this way. Rather, my script should check if the folder is present or not. Right? If you want to unmute, please raise your hands so that I can unmute you. So, here no such file or directory. I want script to check if the folder exists or not. How would a script check if the folder exists or not? If the folder exists, then only it should check the next lines like this. Otherwise, it should not. Right? So in such cases, you have something called conditional statements. Like if there are file operators called -d config, means it will check if this folder exists. If it exists, then reading the config directory, right? Else config directory not found. If it is not found, I want to create the directory. If else means These are the conditional statements. If this line is true, means this will return some Boolean value, true or false. Minus D config means if the directory is present, it will give true. If it is true, it will execute this. It will read the content. If it is false, it goes to else block and check the content of it, right? A config directory not found. In that case, create one directory. Make directory config, right? So it will close the else block. Make the directory config, and also inside the directory, let's create some files, touch config, and let's create a file called file2.txt. And then take the content of it. This one, this line. Then it should execute. Is this good and clear now? Just go through every line and let me know. If this is true, this block, if block, this is called if block will execute. If this statement returns false, else block will execute. Means if it checks if folder is there, then it will read the content and get the content of it. If the folder is not there, it will create one with the make directory command, touch, create some file there, then get the content. So for the first time, if you run the script, it would go there. Sorry, it would come into else block. Next time onwards, it will go into the if block. Is this much clear? Are we good? Line number 16. Closing of if statement is reverse of if, that is fi. That's how you close the if block. Any more questions? Okay, now I don't have this config folder. So it would go to else block, right? Let us run the script. See what it does. Config directory not found, creating the directory. See, it came to else block, created the directory, created a content, config lines, and the contents of the directory is, do you see here? This line, the 19th line. Contents of the directory config files is file2. Let's see. Yes, we have got the folder. If you go into the folder, yes, you have file2. That's what it is printing. Are we good and clear? Everyone understood all the 19 lines of the script? We don't need actual a shell script to do this. We have configuration management tools to do this better. But I am introducing this so that you would know what it will do. This is the basic scripting. I'll also use a script in our CI/CD pipeline as well, and also will then replace it with the Ansible. Okay, so that you will know the use case. Okay, config directory is what we were checking and creating. Okay, yeah, what happens if you execute this again? Let me execute this again. Right, this time it's saying reading the config directory. It went into if block. And then because its folder is already there, it went into if block. It just got the content and printing the content. Clear everyone what it does on the first attempt? I mean, second attempt. Okay. Now, let's say I want to create another folder this time, not config, but I want another folder, let's say some configuration folder. Means I should change the folder name here. Let's say config1. I just want the folder name to be config1. So I should replace it throughout, right? Rather than that, I would like to take this as a parameter, folder name as a parameter. Like, I will take another variable, I'm parameterizing it, like folder name equal to, this time, let's say folder name is my directory. So I can replace throughout, right, with a dollar. Correct? Here also, right? So that each time a new folder can be executed. Right? Agree with this, everyone? Directory name, I'm just giving contents of, it should print contents of my directories. Is that all good? Here also, my directory, folder not found or whatever. Creating the folder or directory, whatever I want. I just made a simple change in the statement. Right? So that this time, if you want to change folder name each time, you will change only line number 6. All the rest of the lines should work fine instead of you changing every line each time. Is that making sense, everyone? The importance of this one? Got it? Importance of variables or parameters. Now let me run the script. See, my directory folder not found, creating the folder. Using config file to config server, contents of my directory config files is file 2. See, a folder might be created as my directory. Do you see that? And you have again file 2 over there. Is this much clear for everyone? Right? And here we are using like true or false conditions. These are called conditional if statements. What if you have multiple conditions? Like, what is meant by multiple conditions? Let's say I have something called user group. Okay, user group is, let's say, um, something like admin. Okay, depending on the user group, you have different tasks. You can again have conditional statements. User group, if user group is then configure the server. Else if, right? Earlier we used else, but this is else if. Let's say user group is something else. Let's say user group is admin. Then we have something else to do. Of course, it may be giving permissions, it may be modifying permissions, but as of now, I'm just printing the echo command. Else, like this, you can add any number of conditions, and the last one should be means if user is anyone else other than Preeti or admin, it should be like no permissions to configure, and then close the if block, right? So because I have given here admin, it would just go to this block and it should print admin the server. See, administer the admin the server, right? Suppose if I give here as, it should print configure the server. See, right? Or else if I have something else apart from these two, and I have only condition for Preeti and admin, if it is something else, it should be no permissions to configure. See, that's a if else if conditional statements, like if when you have multiple conditions, this is how you can. Right? So here we are having multiple parameters. Do you know how many parameters we are using in the current script? Can you tell me how many parameters we are using here? Yes. So this is one file name, folder name, right? Two, and then this user group. Total three parameters we are using, right? Okay, four parameters, config files.
We have 4 parameters. Yeah.
Four parameters we are using. So what if you want to pass them during the runtime? Let's say I want to change a file name each time, folder name each time, user group each time during the runtime, right? You can do that, replace them with something called positional parameters. $1, and this is $2. This is called positional parameter, and this is $3. Means whenever you're calling the script, you can pass these values in the same order. File name, let's say, is my file. $2 is a folder name, let's say my folder. $3 is, let's say, my user. For example, right? So $1 file name, $2 folder name will be assigned. Third one will be assigned here where $3 is set. Now, accordingly, you can see my folder not found, creating it. Using my file to configure the server, contents of my folder is this one. No permissions to configure because it's my user. Right? These are called positional parameters. We would be using in our Jenkins file, I mean in the CI/CD pipeline as well. So that's how you can pass the parameters during runtime. And there is someone asking, can we debug the script? We can debug the script, but you need to have the extensions installed. Like to debug this, you need to have some extension. Go to extension and search for shell debugging. Shell debug, if you search, there is something called shell debugger. You can install it, and using it, you can do it. Bash debug or shell debug. Let me install it. Once you install it, you can add the breakpoints in your script. Like if you go to the script, we should see where you can add some breakpoints. Maybe let's say I want to add a breakpoint here. Debug console is there, but start debugging, add a toggle the breakpoint, conditional breakpoint. Breakpoint. These are the different breakpoints you can put. I don't think I'm able to add.
I think it will be left side to the line number, Priti. There will be some point to add.
It's not showing up on the left-hand side when I'm clicking. Here, if we click on the line number, it should come up.
Yeah, when we click on the left side of the line number, we'll get that.
It's not coming. That's what I'm trying, but it's not coming. So trying to add from
So let's try run and
start.
debug. We can.
Yeah. When I start debugger, it says start debugging. Find shell script extension. Okay, I think we need to install one more plugin for it. Execution debugging C# YAML shell script. We need that's PowerShell. Bash debug. I did install it.
So that is a only extension, Priti. Bash debug by. We have to install that.
I just now installed it.
Yeah. So with that, we'll get it. Now, if we yeah, bash debug. If we do
Now
run,
getting this breakpoints.
yeah, yes, we'll get.
Seven. Mm. Maybe I have to explore a little bit on this. It's saying please start a debug session to evaluate the expression. Debug session is started, or should we do something else? Breakpoints. Man palette. We'll see. Okay, we'll explore a little bit and we'll show you. Okay, so during runtime, you can pass the values using these positional parameters. And if you are into programming or if you want to go line by line, you can also use this debugging. Little exploration you have to do, like how to add a breakpoint, how to pass the values during runtime, what values it's fetching and all. So these things you can explore and debug your code to go through line by line and dissect what's happening on every line. Right? So this is some sample script. I have introduced the if conditional statements and then the different parameters, positional parameters, multiple select case kind of when you have multiple conditions. This is what we did here, right? So you can also We'll be writing scripts as such, just to show you a reference for our pipeline. See here, I'm trying to install some Java, Git, Maven, and checking -d address book v1. Actually, this is the repository name. I'm checking if this repository exists. If it is not, I mean, if it exists, it's saying it's cloned and exists, and then it's pulling. If it doesn't exist, it means it's not there. We are cloning it, and then running MVN commands, Maven commands. So that's some clue or some examples of how we'll be writing some shell scripting for our pipelines. Got it, everyone? Understood this? So that we'll go through the script again when we start our CI/CD pipeline. Just trying to relaunch again as the debugging is not working just after installation. Just let me try to launch again. Connect to the host AWS server.
Pratik, can you share that configuration file?
Yeah. This script should be available in the website in the assignment. I'll also share this. Oh, you
Okay.
mean that configuration for SSH?
Yes. Like AWS server name, that
That is
script.
there in the lab setup folder. In the drive, like in the Google Drive link, if you go and check, the folder is available there. Here it is. In the module 2 lab setup, you have this connectivity based ground load and connection to EC2 instance. You have this configuration.
Okay, yeah.
So do some hands-on and practice on this. This is the intro to all the shell scripting. We'll be using different scripts and different Linux commands throughout, but you can get started with this basic script, right? And like I have shown you, these are the different scripts we'll come across, and there are alternatives to replace them as well. Mm. And this is something for when we are using for Ansible, right? Docker is also installed through the script. Later on, that will be replaced by Terraform, sorry, replaced by Ansible. Building the Docker containers means just the shell command executing from here. And that is being actually called from our Jenkins file. Anyway, those are just an examples, but this is what you have to practice to get started with. Once you are good with this, we can get started with the Jenkins. But before that, I would like to take another interesting concept called SSH. Can I go on? Good to go? Or any more questions in the script?
Pratik, can we access, can we fork your GitHub repos? Like,
You can post it.
okay. Can you share that GitHub one, or is there in the document?
Is there, like once we come to that, I'll share it. Okay, we'll go to the application. What is address book v1? It's a Java Maven project. We'll discuss this and then we'll share it. You can fork it then. Or else you can
Okay.
search under this username pre address book v1 and you can fork.
Okay, yeah.
So now let's talk about something called shell scripting. Sorry, SSH, which is a secure shell. Let's talk about SSH. What is SSH? It's a secure shell, a transfer protocol. It's a transfer protocol with which you can connect to remote hosts You can connect to remote host and you can run some commands on remote host, or you can copy some files. You can do all of these things, copy the files or folders or any content to remote host. All of that you can do with this protocol. This is most widely used protocol, right? A transfer control protocol, which is such. And like how exactly it works, let's understand. And by the way, this connectivity can be two ways. It could be password based or it could be key based. Password based is less used because it's more vulnerable for thefts and attacks. Key based is more secure and which we'll use. It will generate a key using some RSA algorithm. There are different algorithms which can generate this key. Okay, now let's say this is my laptop and this is some remote machine. Okay, remote machine I want to connect to. Remote server we want to connect. We can call it as remote server. Okay, sorry. And this is my laptop. From here, I want to open the connection. So I'm using a SSH protocol to connect. And these should be Linux. And when you have a Linux server, SSH package will be installed and it would be running by default, right? So if you come to this laptop, this is where I want to open a connection. So this server is called SSH client, right? Or else you will use some interface, right? Like git bash or putty. Those are called SSH clients from where you open a connection. Actually, it's the server itself, or else this interface, you can call it as SSH client, git bash, putty, or whatever, right? So you can, here what we'll do is we'll generate a key pair from where you want to open the connection. Generate the key pair. Okay. It is public and private key pair. So what you will do, you will keep the public key here and copy the private key here. I'm sorry. It was reverse. Just a second. So you will generate a key pair. Key pair will have public and private key, right? Generate a key pair. Key pair means it's a combination, it's a pair of a public and private key. So from whichever machine you want to open, you will keep the private key with you. Private key should not be shared with anyone. So on the client machine, you will have the private key and public key will be shared here. So whichever machine is having the matching public key, yes, you can connect to this. It's like a lock and key, right? You should have a matching key for it. So you can establish a connection. Let's say there is some other server 2, right? You want to connect to this. So you can generate again another key pair for this server. Another key pair means another set, public and private key. So you will keep the private key and copy the public key here. So your laptop is having the matching private key means you can connect to this, right? Let's suppose there is another server. Let's say that's another key pair you have generated. Each user will have a separate key pair. Each server will have a separate key pair. Let's say this is the key pair for this. But I haven't copied the private public key here. No public key, right? But this is having, I by mistake copied the public key here, right? You cannot connect to this red server, right? So that's a simple logic. There will be a lot of confusions around this, but it is as simple as that. You have to generate a key pair, keep the public key with you, copy the private key. Or in simple, what you can do is, you can generate a public and private key. You can use the same public key as well. This will also work. Same public key is copied to all servers. Because you have the matching key in your laptop, you can also connect to it. I mean, you can connect to all using the same key pair. But this is not a best practice. But yes, you can do that. Or else, let's say I have my own laptop, another laptop 2. I want to connect from here. So if you copy the matching private key here, yes, again, you can connect to all the servers. But again, this is not good practice. If it is a different SSH client, you should generate a key pair separately. But this will also work. Is that making sense? let's say you want to connect to a remote server. If I have the private key, if I give you the private key, you can also connect to that remote server.
Uh,
Of course, it's
Pritil,
not restricted to a user.
one question. So after generating the key pair, public and private, so we are just copying the public in the remote. So what matches here? Private is different and public is different, right? You're saying like,
Public, let's say that's why I have used different colors. If public key pair is here and if you have red private key, it doesn't work. Let's say this laptop is having, let's assume this is the pair, that's a pair. If it has red private key, it can connect only to the server which has got that red public, not with others.
okay, okay. So
That's the
probably,
coding.
so one key will work for only the one server.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I told you, it's a lock. You lock your home, right? Only the key which fits it can open it. Same
Yes.
thing here. Those are key pairs. You have to use only the matching key, not any random key. Okay.
Okay, got
Same
it.
concept is used to connect even to your EC2 instances as well, but it is done in a different way. Let me show you how it is done on remote, EC2 instances. EC2 instance also use the same concept. This is your EC2 instance. This is my laptop. Here, we are not generating the key pair. Rather, what it is doing whenever you create EC2 instance, do you remember it will ask to create a key pair, right? You will generate a key pair, you will download it in the form of PIM file, right? That's nothing but the private key. PIM file is downloaded into the laptop and it will keep the corresponding public key here. That's why with the matching PIM file, you can connect to this. That's how it works differently. Whenever instance is created, it's creating a key pair itself. It's keeping the public key, giving you the private key. Using this private key PIM file, you are connecting to the instance. Got it and understood? Let me show you to recollect. If you just come here, when you launch an instance, as far as you remember, like you might be aware of this. Here, create a new key pair, right? Or else, if it's old one, you can also browse the key you already created and use it. But the whole point is, you are see RSA algorithm as such key is created, it will keep the public key and it will give the private key. See, when prompted, store the private key. That's what is the private key, right? You get that in the PEM file. And that's used for connection. Once it is created, if you just go and connect, see, SSH, this is SSH concept. SSH minus I, the key name and the DNS of the EC2 instance. This is the syntax to connect. SSH minus I, the private key, and then the DNS of the machine. And that private key should have only 400 as a read permission only for the owner. So that's the simple SSH concept. This SSH concept, everyone should know. It's very simple, but lot of confusions over that. That's all. We use it regularly to connect to some servers. Also, not only that, in the next class, we are going to start Jenkins. There we'll have master slave concept. Slaves will be connected to Jenkins via the same SSH. Not only that, Ansible controller machine will connect to the targeted host via SSH. So in lot many places we use it. Like I told you, right, we generate a key pair. We will do that actually. We will generate a key pair. We will copy the private key. We will do all those things in different ways. Okay, we will do all that hands-on in the course. When we start master slave in Jenkins, we'll get started with it. Hope you understood the concept. Exact commands of how to generate a key pair, how to copy the key pair, all of that we will learn. Any more questions from anyone? So tomorrow we'll get started with the continuous integration server Jenkins. First, we will learn what is continuous integration, why do we need Jenkins, the alternative tools and all of this stuff. And then we'll get started setting up our Jenkins and getting started with creating the sample jobs. That's the agenda for tomorrow. Any questions from anyone? Okay, there is a hand raised from Surendra.
Hi, Priti.
Yes, hi.
Priti, what are the shell scripts currently used into the pipelines? And can you please share this script which you have generated right now, or this will be into the file?
Yeah, the script is available in the website. In the lab assignments, you will see this script available. And whatever scripts we are going to use also will be shared across. I just show you as a reference. Once we go through it, I'll share them. You can
Oh,
focus on this one for today. This is
okay,
available in the lab assignments.
okay, fine, Priti. Yeah, thank you.
Also, like here, it should be available. You in your lab assignments anyway, it will be available here. All the modifications, like will be keep on modifying the content here. But on the lab one, you can see it. Linux basics, the third module. We are working on the third module, and this is Linux basics, file operations, all of that. And here is the script, right, which I'm using. Okay, here it is there as well as in the lab assignments also it will be there.
Pretty like where all the places that like we are going to like when doing automations where we'll use these shell script or like are deploying any or like installing any packages we'll use like going forward.
Are nowhere used, JP. Like in the first class, I told you, now also I'm telling you, it's not mandatory. What I'm telling is, this is how shell script is used, and I have also some scenarios in the pipeline how shell script is used. Later on, I'm going to replace this with Ansible,
Okay.
Terraform, and so on. But I'm showing you all the use cases.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And also like some of the orgs or some of the pipelines may be still using it without replacing it. But there are all possibilities to replace it. That's why shell scripting is not mandatory.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not that we should be using it mandatorily in our pipelines. Some older projects might be using it, some regular tasks, they might be using it. That's how it is. And also now, like with the latest support and all, like with all the AI assistants we have, there is no worry to write any shell script or any files also. Of course, shell script is not used, but in case, like I'm showing you, like let's say shell script. Shell script, what did we do today? Shell script. Use AI shell script to uh, check directory is present or not. This is what we did, right? If present or not. You have everything using it. See, this is what we did, right? If minus D, right? It will explain every script as well. So this Chat GPT can be used like an assistant to speed up your DevOps tasks, to efficiently complete your DevOps tasks, right? See, one more thing is you don't remember, this is called a file operator. There are huge list of file operators. No one will remember that. It's not required as well. But in case if you need, this is the reference, like file operators. Okay, this is the good reference page. C minus B minus C minus D. D is the one we are using. You don't have to memorize this huge list. Okay, that's a huge list. No one knows it or uses it. Examples of it also here. Edit and run. Even editor is available here. Open the compiler or edit the script and you can run it. right? Different compilers. This is a different story. But yeah, you can edit the scripts, check it, or use it, right? Here are the operators. But just as a reference, you should know there are different operators. Now you have this Chat GPT and lot of support you have got. You can explore and get these things done this way. Where
Okay,
is
so
yeah.
in the
Right?
in the yeah, in the real time, like just to know you, like we'll use the shell script, like where to free up some space or like small kind of automations things. We'll use shell script, Priti, in the real time.
Yeah, some automation tasks or else
Task, yeah,
some regular tasks or else
regular
even to
task.
pass some files to Jenkins. It could be anything. There are
Okay,
wide range of things we can do with any script, not only shell script, with Python or Ruby script, anything. So in DevOps automation, any automation can be done with it. So some of the automation I have shown here. That's what I'm telling. It's not mandatory. Okay, you use shell script for these use cases. All these use cases are done with shell script. There's nothing like that. That's what I'm trying to tell. There are some use cases or some automation you can do with the shell scripting, but that's not the only way you have to automate it. But there are projects which may use it, but they are all getting replaced with configuration management tools as well. There's nothing
Ansible.
like, okay, these are the things you should do with shell script. Nothing like that. There are certain things that might be done with shell scripting. They can be replaced as well. And
Okay,
there are some
gotcha.
of the use cases I have added, like calling or passing some values to our pipelines, installing some packages and all. Right? Your Chat GPT can be a very much helping hand for you. Similarly, anything like pass the folder name or else pass the, what are we checking? Folder. Pass the directory name with positional parameter. But first of all, you should know positional parameters to ask this query to give this prompt, right? So you should know the things. So line by line, you don't need to write the shell script. That's what I'm trying to tell. Means you don't need to see this and get panicked. How do I write line by line so many lines of code? If you know, okay, I can do like this, we can check. If you know the logic, if you know the requirement in your mind, you can prompt that for Chat GPT and it can help you. Like I have an idea, I know there'll be something like positional parameters, but I don't know the syntax. That's how I can use shell script. I cannot entirely rely on it. Is that making sense? See here, $1. So that's what we are passing. We are passing the values, right? Whenever we are calling the script, this is how it's passing. Sorry, not this one, not this one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, see, whenever you see now you have installed the stamp card, a web server, HTTP, right? So while launching the instance only, we can pass these commands, everything in the user data, and if we launch the instance, then automatically that will also install the package, right? So,
There are
Preeti.
multiple ways. Okay, I'm talking about the basic way today with shell scripting. Yes, we are going to replace it with so many options. I don't want to recall that user data and all because I haven't covered it. We'll be doing it in our scripts.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Right? So that is all for today. We will so this is how you can use, and anywhere you can use it for your assistant, even during your hands-on. If you are stuck up, you can use it. You can get used to it because so many organizations were using their own AI tools, their own custom AI tools. So get used to this as well, will be good. All right, then we'll stop here for today and we'll continue tomorrow. You can use the same server for Jenkins, or if you want, you can use a new one, create a new one and terminate it. It's up to you. All right, then. Thanks, everyone. Good day. See you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thanks all.